Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 108. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with Vanessa. She's looking at her phone, waiting for service to start so that, I'm sorry, waiting for the service to come back on so that she can reach out to her kids. Joey wants her to take a shower and relax, but she can't stop thinking about her kids and she can't focus on getting relaxed or whatever. She says she's going to have to wait until she hears from her kids before she relaxes. So we see Smitty calling for help, and he's calling out to Ashley and them to come help him. So they come and help him. We then see Nicole. She is checking on Anita, Anita's ankle, and she's giving Leslie her props for um, wrapping up the ankle as well as she did or whatever. And she says that, she feels bad for going off on Leslie when Leslie was just also scared for her daughter just like she was. And it was just like, and that's your problem, Nicole. Don't feel bad because Leslie wouldn't feel bad for you. So stop feeling bad. Stop being the better person. I need you to take a book from your daughter and not want to be the better person and hold her accountable for what she's done. She was wrong. She was making it all about herself. It's okay for you to go off on her. It really is, Nicole. It really is. So Vernon goes to talk to Chelsea, and Chelsea is wondering if this is what it was like when everyone was looking for her when Allison kidnapped her. And Vernon is telling her, it's okay, we're all scared, X, Y, and Z. He comforts her, and Chelsea wants to go check on Danny and Andre, and Nicole is telling her that it's probably Garland is probably a madhouse at this point. So we see Leslie. She gets off the elevator looking for Eva. They tell her that she's with a surgeon, and she wants them to come tell her what's going on. They tell her that, once they get an update, they'll come and find her. We see Ted and Isaiah hop off the elevator. Um, Ted and Isaiah hop off the elevator to, see what's going on, and she starts crying to Ted. So we see Shanice and Ashley. They're working on Martin. Smitty is trying to figure out what's wrong. Jacob calls the medics for transport. They say they need to get Martin to the hospital. So we go back to Vernon and Anita, and he wants to take Anita to the hospital, but Anita doesn't want to go to the hospital because she ain't trying to go back to that hospital unless she absolutely has to. So Nicole tells her to take it easy, keep her foot elevated, X, Y, and Z. Vernon offers to take Nicole home, but she says she's going to do one more sweep just to make sure everything's okay. He asks Chelsea if she wants to come home, but Chelsea wants to get her eyes on Madison. So Nicole gives her the keys to her office so that she can wait for Madison in her office. So they leave. Not Nicole, but Vernon, Anita, and Chelsea. They leave. Shanice comes running out and tells Nicole that Martin fell out. She doesn't know. Oh no, Shanice comes and tells her, um, I'm sorry, she tells her that, Martin fell out. She gets scared. Jacob they bring out Martin, and then they bring Martin out on a stretcher, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. Jacob runs out and tells Shanice that they need her. So he leaves. Smitty comes out and tells her, he let Ted know, and they're going to the hospital. She says she's going to be right behind him. Smitty then remembers the kids, and he's just like, oh, I forgot the kids. He hasn't been able to get through to them. So Nicole says she'll go to the kids. She'll go to the kids or whatever. So we see Samantha and Terrell, and they're worried about the family and saying how they should have gone to the event or whatever. So we go back to Leslie. She's going stir crazy. Ted says he's gonna go see what he can find out. Isaiah tries to give her a pep talk. Kat comes off the elevator, and Leslie is pissed. So we see Vanessa. She is still at the house, worried about her kids, but then she starts talking to him. Oh no, she's thanking Joey for taking care of her. And but she says she should be taking care of him since he's the one who's the hero. Then we he says, oh, Vernon was a hero. She won't let him minimize what he did. She starts to boost his ego. He tells her she tells him all the people that's indebted to him for saving Abby's life, which is the Newmans, the Abbotts, the Hamiltons, the Chancellors, all of that, because they're all related. But honestly, he should have let that chandelier fall on Abby's head. We don't care for her. At least I don't care for her. But whatever. But anyway, so he's just like, if they want to throw gratitude his way, he won't tell them no. So we see Ashley, Shanice, Naomi, and Jacob. They are beat after everything that's happened. Ashley wants to do one more sweep. Shanice tells her she wants to do one more sweep before they go to the hospital. Shanice tells her that um, let the first responders do that. We ain't got time for that. Naomi and Jacob give them their props for what they did. Then they start reminiscing about Derek and what he would have done if he was here, which I don't know why he would have been here, because he wasn't a firefighter, so he wouldn't have been a first responder. He don't have no money, so he wouldn't have paid to get in the seat. So I digress. Y'all know I don't like Derek. But so they talk about him and reminisce about him. Jacob has to go back to the station. Naomi wants to go to the hospital to check on Martin. So Shanice, Ashley, and Naomi go to the hospital. So we go back to the hospital, and Tomas is finally standing up for Kat, but Leslie isn't having it. She goes off on both of them. And how she goes off on both of them and how they've made Eva's life a living hell since she got to town, as if Eva didn't start it with them, but whatever. Um, Kat tells Tomas that maybe they should go. Leslie says, yes, you should. Leslie tells her to go because she can't do anything for Eva and Eva doesn't need her. So we see Anita and Vernon. They are back at the house and there's still no service. They're worried about the rest of the family. They talk about Danny and Andre and how they initially didn't believe in Danny and Andre's marriage, but they just thought it was a rebound. But now they're happy that Danny is over Bill, and how fortunate and blessed they are, and how Martin escaped with just a few bruises. So we go back to the hospital. We see Smitty. He's worried about Martin and he doesn't know how much longer he can wait. Chelsea is trying to give him a pep talk. He gets a text about Martin and some tests that he did, and Madison comes in. Chelsea and Madison are sorry, y'all. Sorry. Chelsea and Madison are happy to see each other. Smitty asks Madison about the tests that Martin took, and she explains it to them. By this, again, the lights are on. Well, they're at Garland, so the lights were already on. Um, let's see. Oh, she tells them that she's seen Ted and she let him know, but he's tied up, but he will get the updates. Smitty leaves to let them catch up. Madison tells her how worried she was, and her seeing Danny in the ER and how Danny calmed her down. Chelsea tells her that she'll always find her. So we go back to the brownstone. Not Smitty. Tyrell is trying to comfort Samantha about everything or whatever. The lights finally come on. She's glad that Tyrell is always by her side, even though they may go at each other. She's glad that he's always there for her. Nicole comes in and they all hug each other. So we see Ted. He pulls Leslie away from Kat, and he tells her he's not going to let her go. He's not going to let her go at Kat because it's not fair. Tomas continues to stand up for Kat, thankfully, but again, Leslie doesn't care. Isaiah then takes up for Kat, which again was surprising because, yeah. But Leslie again still doesn't want to hear any of it. Ted tells her he knows a surgeon, and Eva's in good hands. Leslie cries. She gives a monologue, of course. She ends up saying she doesn't know what to do. All she can do is sit there and wait, and she sits down. And Kat, being the better person, goes and sit next to her and tells her, we're gonna sit together then. I would have been like, oh well, girl, Kat is a much better person, but whatever. So we get back to Joey and Vanessa. The lights are finally on. Vanessa's still waiting for the she's still waiting for cell service to start. He tells her the kids are probably trying to get in touch with her also. She says Donnell, but not Deanna. She talks about seeing Leslie and Nicole, being scared for their girls, and she doesn't know how Deanna would feel if something were to happen to her, or if something were to happen to Deanna, how she would feel if um Vanessa would be there for her or whatever. All she wants to do is hear her daughter's voice. Joey says he has a short list of people he loves: his mom, his sister, and Isaiah, and her, and he can't take any more occupants in his heart. She says they've all returned to him except for his mom, and he says, and one of them returned with a vengeance. So we see Nicole. She's again still with the kids. She's telling them what happened, and they want to go to the hospital to sit vigil with Cat. I mean, with Martin. So we see Kat. She checks on Ted. She asks about Martin, who he gives her an update. She asks if she can stay with them. He says, of course. The doctor comes out. Um, sorry, the doctor comes out and gives them an update on Eva. Her liver has been damaged beyond salvaging. She needs a transplant. And if she doesn't get one or find a living donor, she might die. We see, and then Leslie passes out and she starts crying. So we see Joey. He tells Vanessa he's going to run a bath for her and light some candles so she can relax. And that way, when she does finally get the call, she'll be good and ready. So he leaves to go get the call. He leaves to go and run the bath. She's um Oh, yeah, he leaves. She gets a call from Deanna, about who's been worried about her. She asks about Donnell, and she tells him that, they're all okay, but she's really been worried about her. So we see the Nicole and the kids, they're at the hospital. They want to know about Martin. He's still getting some tests done. Smitty asks about June, but they haven't heard from her. Samantha's gonna text her just Samantha's gonna text her now that they got service. Vernon calls Nicole. He says he's been trying to get in touch with Martin. Madison comes in and tells them that Martin is awake. So he was just like, "What's going on?" She hands the phone to Chelsea because she wants to go hug her baby. He gets when Chelsea gets on the phone, he says, "Child, start talking." I was just like, such a granddaddy. I love it. He tells her that if there's an unconscious Dupree, he is the first call. She tells him what happened with she tells him what happened with Martin or whatever, or that's she's gonna tell him what happened or whatever. So we go back to the doctor. He's telling the gang that Eva's on the donor registry list, and they need to start testing the family. We see Kat; she looks scared. Ted and Leslie go to get tested, but he tells her that may not be a match. But Leslie thinks one of them will be a match. We see Ashley, Shanice, and Naomi get off the hospital. They see Kat in them, and they see, oh snap, something's going on. Naomi gets a call from June. She tells them, she's gonna come help her with something when she talks. She has to handle something first. They get the update on Martin or whatever. So Naomi goes to, she checks with Kat, and she goes to Isaiah. She hugs him and comforts him, and she finds out what happened. We go back to Vanessa. She's happy that her kids are okay. Deanna starts to thaw out a little towards her mom, and tells her that family. She tells her that her family and what's left of it is what's important to her, and everything else is just noise. Sorry. Joey then proceeds to come out and yells, "The bath is ready." Deanna hears. She gets mad. She says Vanessa wasn't worried about them at all. Vanessa tries to explain, but Deanna isn't having it and she hangs up. Joey asks if there was damage and she tells him that Deanna heard and now she's pissed. He tells her well, you wanted to hear her voice. So at least you heard her voice, and she wants to call Donnell, but Joey talks her out of it. And it's just like, girl, why did you not, like, why didn't you remember that he did the exact same thing when you decided to go on a vacation with this man after your husband asked you to go on a vacation with him, but you couldn't get the time away, but you decided to then proceed and go on a vacation with Joey when you told your husband that you were going to leave this man alone. So when you were on this vacation and your husband called you, begging you and crying to you, Joey just came in and he heard you talking to Doug. Granted, I don't think you saw that he heard you talking to Doug, but he decided to yell it out that y'all were together and whatever he said. And it was just like, girl, you don't remember him doing that? I feel like he did that again. He knew you were on the phone with Deanna and decided to call out so that she could still be pissed at you. And then the fact that he stopped you from calling your other son to at least like attempt to give your side of the story. Yeah, okay, whatever, Vanessa. You actively are choosing this man. You are actively choosing this man over your kids, and it's annoying, but we're here, I guess. So we go back to Anita and Vernon. They're at the house again. The lights are on. They're pissed that the family didn't tell them at Martin. Um, and at first I was just like, girl, they didn't have no service. But then she was just like, as soon as Nicole found out, as soon as Nicole could tell him, she should have called him. But then again, it's just like, girl, she worried about her kid right now. She ain't worried about telling you that her kid ain't okay. She's worried about her kid. Like, come on, but it is what it is. I mean, of course, they're grandparents. They would want to know that information. But anyways, so they're happy that Martin's okay, but she doesn't like that he had to go through that without them there. She tells him the family handled a crisis without them. Vernon is just like, I wouldn't go that far. They still have a lot to learn and they still need to keep them in the loop with things at all times. Anita says he must be in his feelings about the country club and the family legacy. He says they can rebuild. What matters to him is that all the Duprees are okay. So we see Martin. He is in the room because he's finally awake. The family is happy. He doesn't want them worrying about him. Martin comes in and tells him that he did have a concussion, and she wants him to stay overnight, but he doesn't want to do that because the primaries are tomorrow. Smitty says he'll make sure that Martin adheres to all the rules. Nicole wants to know if they still need help, but Madison tells her no, to relax after everything she's gone through. She needs to just go relax. Madison tells Martin if anything changes, he needs to come back to the hospital ASAP. Smitty and Martin say okay. Chelsea gets a text and she walks out with Madison. The kids want to make sure that Martin doesn't scare them again like that, and then they hug. So we see Chelsea. She gets to Kat and she tells Kat that Martin's okay. Then that Chelsea can't believe she can't believe this and thought everyone was in the clear. Kat doesn't know how to handle this. If she had known this would have happened, she would have been nicer to Eva when they were trapped. Tomas tells her it's not her fault. Chelsea tells her a slick mouth doesn't cause liver damage. Kat is mad at the tornado, and there's no love lost between her and Eva, but she hopes she's okay and she can't believe it, but she actually means it. So we see Ted and Leslie. Ted, Leslie, and Isaiah are in the room talking with the doctor about Eva and waiting to see if they're a match. Leslie wants to start a campaign to get donors. Ted isn't sure if they'll need that, but to wait on that. Leslie says she's not good at waiting, but this is their only option. The doctor leaves. Isaiah wants to know what he can do, get tested or go online and start the campaign. Ted says thanks, but they may not need that. Ted tells them what's going to come next, what the next steps are, and says that, she has to come through this. She is a fighter. Ted says they have to stay positive. He's going to go check on Eva and see if there's anything he can do. Then he leaves, and we end with Isaiah and Leslie comforting each other and praying. So that was the episode. It was a good episode. Not going to lie to you, these next couple episodes did royally piss me off, and y'all going to see it in my reviews. I'm going to try to hold back my anger, but yeah, watching these episodes live was annoying. Rewatching them just gives you a whole new perspective on it, and it pisses me off even more than when I watched it live. But I digress. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode. Tell me how you guys are feeling about the whole what's about to happen, because I want to know y'all's opinions. But let me know what you guys thought, and I will see you guys in the next one.